taking deep breaths. Let's make it better with this essential video, which will delight your inner being. And we're here to help.
If you want typically a new relationship or you want a new life, you have to go about kind of a structure of steps that people follow. You have to study, or you have to go online, and you have to submit whatever it is that you want in a relationship and pictures and all that stuff. And that's how we do it, because when we move around and we do things, everything takes time. So you become aware that you're a body called Scott, local in space and time, in this three-dimensional reality. And the thought of having a new life or a new relationship, and then the experience of having it, is going to take time. And that's normal. And you can develop certain skills, you can make the right choices, you can change certain behaviors, you can repeat certain experiences that become like goals, and in time, you arrive at that event, or that experience. And so the interval between cause and effect is called time. And for most people, it takes a long time for them to get what they want. And we could say that, in a sense, your material, something matter, your body, called Scott, occupying a body, in a material world, and the outcome that you're creating in the material world is going to take time. But if you wanted to create from the field instead of from matter, then you would have to change the rules on how you would produce an effect in your life. So the quantum model of reality says that when we look for an electron in the subatomic world to measure it, it mysteriously appears where we're looking for it. So in some way, subjective mind has an effect on the objective world. And that's somebody who's looking for a subatomic particle that collapses from energy, from a wave function into a particle, into matter. And that's called collapsing the wave function. Turn your back on it, no longer observe it, and it turns back into possibility. So then I have drank martinis with quantum physicists till sunrise, discussing these principles, and their answer is always the same. Yes, there is an observer effect, but it only happens for the very tiny. It doesn't happen for the very large, like real-life events in your life. And I always say the same thing. Maybe we're just poor observers. What if we could disconnect and take all of our attention off our body and become nobody? Take all of our attention off all the people that we have relationships in our lives with, that we identify with, that creates our identity. To disinvest all of your attention and energy off of anything material, anything, any object. Forget about where you're sitting, forget about where you live, forget about where you work, and forget about time. And if you could disinvest all of your attention and energy out of this structural, material, three-dimensional world, and where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and take it off of everything you know, in a sense, you would become aware that you are an awareness in a place called nothing. Now, it's the act of doing that we call getting beyond yourself. And if you're living by the hormones of stress, and the hormones of stress heighten your senses, and they cause you to narrow your focus on the material world, and if there's a threat or a danger out there, and you've done it enough times, it's going to be really hard for you to forget about your outer environment in the beginning, because you've conditioned yourself to say there's danger out there. Closing your eyes, taking your eye off the outer world, could mean you could be eaten when the survival gene is activated. And if the survival gene is activated, you'd be thinking about your body a lot because it would be threatened. And the rush of those stress hormones is an arousal, and we feel more grounded in our body. So it takes work to get beyond all the elements in your environment. And this is practice, to not think about the drives that your body has, or the pain that your body's in, or, that you are your body, and to break the habit of trying to predict the next moment, a predictable future, or keep feeling or remembering the past. In that sweet spot where you pass through the eye of the needle as pure consciousness allows you to enter a realm. Quantum, there's nothing physical, there's nothing for you to experience with your senses there. And in that realm, the laws change. There's nothing there for you to experience or see. So that realm, called the immaterial realm, is rich in frequency, vibration, energy. It's the realm of thought. Things no longer appear as separate, like you're over here and I'm over there. The energy kind of connects everything. And in this realm, if we can create from the field instead of from matter, You only need two things. One is a clear intention. You got to know what you want. The other one is an elevated emotion, which means you can't wait for the experience to happen, a new relationship or a new life, to feel gratitude, because you would forget that you're the creator of your life. And when the outer world changed, some event took place in your life, then you'd feel the emotion of it. And that's the rules of three-dimensional reality. The rules of the quantum says you have to feel the emotion before it happens. If you could learn how to create heart coherence is when we feel an elevated emotion. Now, think about when your dreams come true, the emotion you would feel. You wouldn't feel anger or hostility. You wouldn't feel frustration or fear or anxiety, guilt or shame or unworthiness. Those are all the emotions that we've already felt. That we would have to feel the elevated emotion, and when we do that properly and we can sustain it and keep our attention on our heart, that connects us, that center of wholeness, that union of polarity or duality, that place of the creative center, literally starts to beat in a very high amount of order. And like beating a great drum or dropping a pebble in still water in a very specific timing, that the waves that are created from the heart, three-dimensionally surrounding your body, begins to emit energy. And energy is frequency, and frequency carries information. And the coherence of the brain resonating in a harmonic with the coherence of the heart begins to produce a strong signature, electromagnetic signature. So whatever you broadcast into the field from that place is your experiment with destiny. You're playing around with destiny. The problem is, if you want it really bad, then the first thing that people do in the state of desperation is they look for it. And if you look for it, then, like, why didn't it happen? You're back to separation. You're back to the emotions of lack or emptiness. Our job then is to combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion every single day and produce a signature in the field when we've taken all our attention off of everything known or anything that we experience with our senses in our three-dimensional reality. And that practice of getting beyond the self and becoming pure consciousness and creating from the field, if you were connected to Source, why would you go anywhere to get anything? If you were Source, you would do something else. You would begin to draw the experience to you. So then the heart is the magnetic signature that draws the experience to you, and the brain is the electrical charge. It is the directive. It is the signal that we send out. So then the longer you're conscious of this energy, this frequency, from the realm of the field, the more you synchronize your energy to some potential, the more you experience synchronicities in your life. Now, the challenge is that when you open your eyes and you come back to your senses and it hasn't happened yet, many people go, how come I'm not healed? How come I don't have a new relationship? How come my life hasn't changed? Because you return back to the old energy. So our job then is to be able to become so familiar with this energy, so familiar with this feeling. In breaking the habit of being yourself, and I think even in becoming supernatural, one of the things I ask people to do is to decide what is it that they want and list all of those things. Do you want a new job? List all the things you want. You want to make a difference in the world? You want to travel? You want to work with super cool people? You want to work from anywhere? You want to make more money? Whatever it is. You want to learn new things? Get very clear on what that is and give it a letter. And draw those two squiggly lines around that represent the electromagnetic field, and then list the emotions right next to it, those elevated emotions that you would feel when it happened. And some people say, well, I don't know how it would feel because it hasn't happened yet. Well, try gratitude, because that's the perfect signature emotionally. It teaches your body that in gratitude, you won't be looking for it already because you'll feel like it's already happened.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and share it with someone who could use some motivation.